Tonight on CTV, 2 dead bodies found in a drainage tunnel.
Take a peek into housing in Fort Collins.
And looking at how technology has impacted art and artists.
All of this and more on CTV 11.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Gabriele Hibbitts.
And I'm Madison Szpunar. Tonight we apologize in advance for technical difficulties, so we will be reading from our scripts.
2 bodies were found in a storm drainage tunnel near a Honda dealership off of College Avenue on Monday. Around 3:30 in the morning, police units were called to the scene after the 2 bodies were found in a tent that was set up inside the tunnel. While the bodies were found near the dealership, the drainage tunnel was on city property. Police believe the individuals gained access to the tunnel by crawling under the safety gates at the opening. Police and public officials urge the public to respect the safety barriers in the tunnel.
A Fort Collins man has been arrested for allegedly impersonating a police officer, attempting to pull over another driver. A man was driving near Horsetooth Reservoir where he passed a red Toyota 4Runner, which then accelerated quickly close behind him. Hugh Clark, a Toyota driver, activated red, white, and blue emergency lights along with a siren. The man thought the car looked suspicious and did not believe it was a real police officer, so he continued to drive. The Toyota followed him for several miles before it turned around and drove away. The man reported the incident to the sheriff's office, and the deputy found the vehicle and identified the owner. During this investigation, they found the owner of the Toyota was in possession of law enforcement logos and handcuffs.
A man was shot by Fort Collins police while holding a woman and her 2 children at gunpoint last year has been sentenced to 48 years in prison. Colton Serio was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping, 3 counts of second-degree kidnapping, and felony menacing. The incident occurred early last year on February 7, 2024, near CSU's campus. Serio's sentences will run concurrently and consists of 48 years for first-degree kidnapping, 12 years for second-degree kidnapping, and 3 years for felony menacing. The woman involved in the situation claims she knew Serio and wasn't in danger. She also testified that he had acted out like this before.
Here at CSU, many students are juggling academics with on-campus jobs, gaining valuable experience and some extra cash. From working in dining halls to assisting campus offices, these jobs offer more than just a paycheck. They provide students with the opportunity to develop professional skills and make connections that will last beyond graduation. For many students, college life isn't just about classes and textbooks. It's about balancing work, studies, and social life, especially for those who have jobs on campus.
It makes things so much easier. Like, you're already on campus, you can work in between classes. I work a desk job, so I can do my homework here. It just makes life so much easier.
I think it's just made me have to prioritize more my academics and my work together, because work is important to me because I need money. I think that it's also helped me be a little bit more social.
With time management, it's definitely taught me how to balance different tasks. We do a lot of room setups here where you have a set time where things need to be done, and it's a lot of juggling different things to do, and also just the customer service aspect.
But the real question is, would they recommend it to other students? We asked some of those who work on campus if they'd suggest taking on a job during college.
Yeah, I think for one, it helps you with money management, that you're gonna get a paycheck, it's stable.
Absolutely. I think it is the most convenient thing that you can do, especially if you're on campus all day. You're already here, so why not make your work here too?
Students at CSU are showing that it's possible to balance work and study successfully. With time management and dedication, these students are making the most of their college experience both in and outside of the classroom.
The Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency have granted $326 million to CSU for 3 different research projects. These projects intend on improving methane emissions and oil and gas operations nationwide. The combined funding makes this one of the largest federal award packages in the university's history, enabling high quality and high impact research. Methane, a powerful greenhouse gas which is a product of storage, production, and transport systems, is often co-emitted with ozone and other air pollutants, creating air quality issues in communities. Researchers at CSU have been working for over 30 years to create solutions to this issue through the Energy Institute, housed at the Powerhouse Energy campus.
One project will look at reducing emissions on marginal wells. So marginal wells are smaller, older wells typically. The second project is a regional monitoring center that will help a wide variety of stakeholders understand what the emissions are. And our particular region is in the north central part of the US. And then the third project is targeted at addressing some emission sources in the midstream section of the natural gas industry.
The EPA's methane emissions reduction program and efforts made by the CSU Energy Institute will encourage the monitoring and reduction of methane emissions, improve air quality, and will create development in the workforce. We will now head over to our reporter Karma Robbins to hear about how parking at CSU impacts the community. Karma?
Good evening, Rams. I'm Karma Robbins. With parking permits costing between $500 and $700 and tickets ranging from $45 to $90, parking is a concern for students, but the solution may not be as simple as the community may think. With more students driving to class this winter, students are finding it more difficult to find parking on campus.
I would say definitely in the mornings it's a little difficult to get parking because everybody has morning classes. So definitely, like here at the Morgan Library, it's definitely a little hard because you have to also pay for the parking. I think you getting penalized for parking going to class is not fair to anybody on this campus.
CSU Parking and Transportation says funding is a big reason for the high parking costs.
I understand that the cost of parking can be a burden to some. It is expensive, and there's a reason for that. Parking and transportation here on campus, parking in particular, is a self-supporting auxiliary enterprise, which means that no tuition monies, no state funding comes in. Parking needs to support itself off of user fees.
With parking spots filling up quickly, students are finding that they need to arrive earlier just to find a spot.
Having more parking spaces would be a lot more reliable than just having like a few parking spaces and then the rest of the people have to go public transportation even though they want to drive.
CSU Parking says budget is one of the reasons they cannot make more parking spaces available.
The growth in the number of parking spaces is frankly not high on the list, just because there are very limited places where parking can be increased, and it's extremely expensive. The spaces in a parking garage, for instance, run about $40,000 a piece. So the cost of a parking permit would need to skyrocket in order to greatly increase the number of parking spaces.
CSU Parking Services has some advice if you are getting ticketed and you feel that it is unfair.
No, take us up on the offer to let us help you customize a commuting plan, if you will. As I mentioned, less than half of the students find the need to drive and park on campus. There are options, obviously, that are working very hard with Transfort to provide that free transit all over town.
While many students walk, bike, or take the bus, that is not always possible for all students. Some students feel that the system can be unfair, but Parking Services is working to accommodate students and staff. Brandon Linden will be joining us live to talk about Narcan in the LSC.
Good afternoon, I'm Brandon Lennon, and I'm in the Laurie Student Center. Now behind me is NOCO Reversal Project Harm Reduction Alliance box. Now, what's outside the box is not that important, but inside the box is what's especially important. Inside this box holds Nexolone, also known as Narcan, which can reverse the symptoms of an opioid overdose. Right next to that is multiple informational pamphlets on how to see the signs of an opioid overdose, as well as how to reduce harm of opioid overdoses. We also have test strips and a card that has the phone number to the opioid crisis hotline. These facilities are all over campus, and I highly recommend that you go check it out. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thanks for that, Brandon. That was a very informative segment, and it's really great that we have those resources available on campus.
I think it's super special that we're able to give students Narcan who may be struggling with opiates or other problems like that.
Well, we will be taking a quick break, but catch us for more news after the break.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Hi Rams, my name's Lena Juhlin, here to bring you this week's weather. Into our current conditions, it is 37 degrees outside right now. Sunset was at 5:24 p.m. Humidity is at 55% and there are 5-mile-per-hour winds. This week we had a lot of fluctuating weather, from the highs being in 60 one day to the 30s in the next. That said, it has brought out a lot of creatures around campus, including our squirrels and geese. Speaking of, there's a certain groundhog that saw his shadow this last weekend. Puxatawny Phil out of Pennsylvania saw his shadow, indicating 6 more weeks of winter. Moving into our overnight lows, along the I-25 corridor, you can expect temperatures right under 30 degrees, with those highs with those lows right around the 20s. Moving into the eastern plains, you can expect some colder temperatures, with Lemont at 19 and Burlington at 18. Moving into the western slopes, you can expect some warmer temperatures in Craig, Vale, Grand Junction, and Telluride. However, Gunnison will be at 13 degrees. Into tomorrow's forecast, the high will be 55 degrees with a low of 35. Sunset will be at 5:26 p.m. Humidity will be 50 degrees, and you can expect the wind to be 10 miles per hour. Next, into our 5-day forecast. Saturday, you can expect some of that warmer temperature, with a high being 46 and low of 22. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be colder, with those highs in the 30s and 20s and those lows in the 10s and 20s. Tuesday, you can expect snow as well. That's all we have for weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Lena. Broccoli sold at Walmart in 20 states, including Colorado, is now part of a recall due to possible Listeria contamination. The FDA initially announced the recall on December 31st, 2024, for Braga Fresh's washed and ready-to-eat bagged broccoli florets. A month later, the recall was upgraded to the highest risk level, Class I, as the FDA found it could be fatal. No illnesses have been reported, but the FDA advises consumers to discard the broccoli if they have it.
President Trump agreed to pause tariffs on Mexico and Canada for 1 month after speaking with leaders of both countries. The proposed tariffs consisted of a 25% tax on all imports from Mexico and Canada and a new 10% tariff on imported goods from China. Trump said that he would be speaking with China soon about the tariff. Trump agreed to pause the tariffs on Mexico and Canada after both leaders agreed to increase security measures at their respective borders. The pause on the tariffs is causing more economic uncertainty in the United States, demonstrating that it is difficult to predict how policies will unfold.
What has been described as the worst mass shooting in Sweden's history occurred on Tuesday, where at least 10 people were killed. The police did not know of the perpetrator before the attack and believe that he was not involved in any gangs. They also do not believe that the perpetrator acted on any ideological motives. Sweden's Prime Minister offered his condolences to the victims and their families during a press conference the next day. Along with the 10 victims who died, 5 had serious gunshot wounds and 4 underwent surgery. The shooting occurred in a school for adult education. It is a time of year where students are searching for where they will call home in the fall. Tate Paisley has more.
Thanks, Madison. The search for off-campus housing can be a challenge for many CSU students, but the annual housing fair aims to make that process just a little bit easier. Landlords and apartment representatives have gathered together to show students what their options are and what's available, as well as what to expect from Fort Collins's rental market.
Every year, CSU's Housing Fair brings together students and property managers in one place, making it easier for students to explore their options before signing a lease.
If they have some very unique needs, I do recommend that they get out there early and looking. But if a student has needs such as, I'm hoping to live with 2 roommates, I would like to be either within biking or walking distance or on a bus line, you know, they're a little flexible in their price and open to different types of amenities, they're going to be fine.
The fair isn't just about browsing apartments. Certain properties can also apply to be part of CSU's Good Neighbor program.
If a property manager agrees to abide by a higher ethical standard, and the ethical standard is set by off-campus life, they have the opportunity to participate in a program that we call the Good Neighbor program.
But with the housing market becoming increasingly competitive, finding the right place isn't always easy.
It's extremely competitive, yeah, especially I've been in the market for about 4 years now, and within the last 2 years, I would say, since really COVID, it's really picked up a lot. For one, CSU is always bringing in more, you know, the population's always rising for CSU, but there's not enough houses, it seems like, every single year for those students. So, yeah, we're getting a lot of interest, especially this year. Usually it's dead this time of the year, you know, Christmas time. Normally it's busy during the summer, but we're getting tours every single day this time.
With rising competition, experts say the best advice is to start looking early and take advantage of resources like CSU's Housing Fair to make the process as smooth as possible.
With rising rent prices and high demand, finding affordable housing near campus isn't always easy. But events like this give students a chance to explore their options and make informed decisions for their future. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. Afterwards, Payton Barill will give us all the sports news you could ask for.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
What's up, Ram fans? My name's Payton Barill, and I'm here to bring you a quick recap of some Mountain West basketball since the previews from Tuesday Night Sports. Both the men's and women's teams took a trip down to Albuquerque, New Mexico for 2 separate meetings with the Lobos. Coming into this one, all the noise was about Nick Clifford and how he would fare against the New Mexico team. But unfortunately for the Rams, this game did not feature the same Clifford that we've seen in the past few months, scoring just 9 points in this outing on a 3 of 15 shooting overall. Even with some good plays from guys like Rashawn Bemba or Kyan Evans, there wasn't enough firepower to mount a comeback on these red-hot Lobos as the Rams lost 87-65. Taking a dive into the team's stats, it's more of the same, with the green and gold losing the battle in just about everything, from rebounds to assists to steals. It's safe to say that this Wednesday night was not pretty for the Rams. Still though, this is the top team in the conference, and the Lobos have been putting up these kind of performances all year. In all honesty, I think it's time to get away from some of this losing energy from Wednesday night. Let's get into the women's recap, who had some happier results for us. Taking the win down in the pit, this was a tight game for our starters, playing almost every minute of the game. The starting 5 for the Rams pulled the win out, scoring 60 of the team's 69 points. And what's more, they did all their own separate jobs, as players like Marta Lemaine put up 3 blocks, or Kaylee Hendrick, who had 2 of her own. But looking past those starters, we see more of the offensive side of things, with the Ronzik sisters once again having a high-scoring night, combining for 33 while both played all 40 minutes. The final starter for the Rams was Hannah Simmenthal. The transfer from Northern Colorado has been heating up as of late and showcased more of the same on Tuesday. But what really stood out about the Simmenthal stat line was the 5 steals and 0 turnovers. Talk about a good ratio. But even with all the good news the Rams saw from the battles, individual stat lines, the green and gold still lost some battles on the box score, seeing the Lobos take the cake in both rebounds and assists. But I'm pretty sure the line goes defense wins all the championships, and the Rams absolutely won the defensive battle on their way to this win. Sitting at the end of this week, the Rams have a 1-1 with some mixed feelings. That's for sure, but there's more basketball to be played in both the men's and women's teams who have a game this Saturday. The women will travel to Boise State for a date with the Broncos, and the men will try to defend home court against the Aztecs of San Diego State. Make sure to tune in to Tuesday Night Sports to hear the recaps of both these games. But stay tuned, because after the break, we'll hear about the impact of technology on art.
I want to get like a wig off of Shein, bro.
Do you have 0 friends because you are uninteresting? Are all of your friends cooler than you because of the fun facts they know? Have you or a loved one suffered from someone telling you how underground their interests are?
Fear not.
Hi, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Warner.
Here on Underground, we can help you be cool again.
Watch our show this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m.
And we promise you'll see results.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Bailey Borkowski. With the emergence of a digital world, how people create and consume art has been greatly affected. Although there are many mixed feelings about using digital mediums when creating art, some artists have been embracing it. One local artist, Christopher North, explains why he uses digital art.
Anything that's a tool, whether it be a new color, or a new brush, a new surface, like what we were talking about, new materials for the surface, to make new kinds of art and express ideas in ways that haven't been able to be expressed in the past.
North is just one of many artists who display their work at Blue Moose Gallery and isn't afraid to mix digital and physical mediums together. Some believe that even with the emergence of digital art forms, physical galleries such as Blue Moose are not going away anytime soon. One popular critique of digital art, however, includes the use of AI. North shares his opinion on AI art.
It's the best way to put it, I saw this somewhere, is it is the thing on the right-hand side of an equals sign. It's the product of an equation. I don't know what you would call that, but that to me is not art.
It is more than just a few artists that are embracing this digital age. CSU has an entire interdisciplinary program that is focused on electronic art. Through this program, students are able to use technology through a more artistic lens. CSU, Colorado State University's new art exhibit, The Hangman at Home, is stepping outside the canvas and into a more digital realm. The exhibit uses virtual reality to present the artwork of Michelle and Yuri Krenot that is inspired by the Carl Sandburg poem, The Hangman at Home. Jiren Yuron, the organizer of this exhibit, shares what it's all about.
The poem is about the mundane, everyday life, domestic life of an executioner. So what does the hangman do after a day of work when he returns to his domestic life? And it deals with, like our individual and collective accountability, like the everyday decisions we make, how does that impact a lot of people?
Yurin shares how this piece has affected the Fort Collins community.
We have, created this living room installation where people can come together after their experience of the artwork, have a cup of tea, and share their experience and thoughts and reflections with each other. Sharing with each other often is people of different generations, and it's been so incredibly moving.
This immersive piece allows for people to not just view the art, but interact with it and become one with the artwork. The Hangman at Home art exhibit will run until February 14th, and tickets are free and will work on a first-come, first-served basis. Now, I got to experience this art exhibit in person, and I thought it was one of the most creative and cool things that I've experienced. Have you guys ever experienced VR before?
I have. I don't think I'm the biggest fan. I think it makes me dizzy. I think I prefer rather going to a personal art gallery, but still super, super interesting.
Yeah, I don't really have any experience with using VR either, but it seems like a really cool technology for kind of immersing the viewer into a different world. So it is very interesting, and it's very cool to experience for people that have experienced it before.
Yeah, totally. And Bailey, I saw that you had it on.
Yeah,
How was that?
It was really, really cool. It was really interesting. It's something I had never experienced before. I'm a person who both loves art and just VR. I've been using my older sister's, and so it's really fun to see how you can use the VR just not for games and whatnot. And I think this could be going in a really, really cool direction.
Well, thank you so much. That's going to bring us to the end of our show tonight.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Thursday to bring you more news.